Hi. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Facebook Live, YouTube Live. Welcome to Bold Influence with Lyna Nyamwaya. I'm so happy you could join us for this episode about money. I am waiting to see people come on. Let me get this opportunity to share this Facebook Live, actually. Live with Miss Faith. Hi, thank you for joining us. I see you. Please comment so I see who's joining me. Welcome to this Facebook Live. Share away if you have somebody to share with. Unfortunately, I'm on the view that I can't see who is there, but I see you guys coming on, and I'm excited that you could join us. Welcome. Yay! The crowd is getting here. As I wait to bring on my guest, today we are going to talk about money. And I know that we all need to talk about money. So I'm going to start in a little bit, but I want to give a shout out. So comment and tell me where you're watching from so I can see who's with me on this live broadcast. So Bold Influence live broadcast. So I want to quote one of the things I was reading about. And this one is from the American College of Financial Services. But before I do that, I thank God for this opportunity. And I thank you for joining us. So, hi, Fred. Thank you for joining us. Yay, I see you're here. So the first thing I would say is for everybody joining us is that it's important to talk about money. Most of us grew in households where we were raised by civil servants. So all they knew is a salary, and we just kind of waited for that salary at the end of the month to get the special gifts. Hi. Yes, please like and comment. I see the crowd is getting bigger. Yay. Hi, Samuel. You're here from the 10,000 lakes. Yay. There's more than 10,000 lakes actually in Minnesota, but I'm glad you said that. So we were raised in those homes where we never talked about money. So I have made it an intentional thing for us to talk about money, generational wealth, insurance, things that we thought were not real, so that we can also learn and try to close these economic gaps. So I'm going to start out by quoting George Nichols, the president and CEO of the American College of Financial Services. And he said, if we are not addressing how I manage my money, if we are not addressing the education and the knowledge and transfer necessary for me to know how to manage my money and how to grow my money, then you put me in a box. And I am going to stay in that box because that's all I know. I don't want you to stay in a box. Me personally, with Bold Influence, I have made it upon myself to help you get out of that box. Let's talk about money. Let's actually know what else is there to know about money. If you are in a curriculum, whether it's finance or engineering or whatever, that never had anything about financial health, then we need to talk. That is why I went personally into the financial industry, because I want to learn more. Hi, Doreen. Hi, Samuel. Hi, Samuel and Fred. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to bring you a guest who's the mogul, the expert on money. And we are going to have a good time chatting and having a conversation on how can we better our communities? How can we improve the lives of our children? Multiple times I've shared that our parents gave us the best they could with what they had. Now it's our opportunity to build better for our children as we move forward. Hi, Miss Valentine. Nice to see you. Please share away as you come on. And I'm not going to ignore you, but without any further waste of time, I am going to let you know that I have a very special guest today that who's been in this country as an immigrant woman, a woman in business. She has, just like most of us immigrants, started from scratch, but she's not ashamed to say that she is grown and she's built a steady income and built a freedom kind of lifestyle for her family that is secure because of the path she chose. So allow me, and please with me, let's share Miss Faith Maina. She is a national life senior agent. So that means that she's an insurance agent, a life producer. She does annuities and retirement and all that. So that's kind of a package in her. She's also had very many years of experience doing this, but her story is very interesting. You're about to learn that. She's an educator, a speaker, a mentor, a wife, a mother, a believer, with all of that. And of course, she's a coach and mentor for new agents. And she's received many awards for the work that she has done in the finance world. So Miss Faith has a very humble beginning before joining this financial industry, which she's very passionate about. She started out as a teacher. So that education serves her well today. She started out as a teacher in Kenya. And please help me welcome Miss Faith Maina today to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Lyna.
You look beautiful, Miss Faith.
Thank you. You too. You too. How are you today?
Very good. Hi, Chantel. Good. Hi, Chris. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Yes, Miss Valentine, let's secure the bag. So without further ado, Miss Faith, we thank God for this opportunity to be able to chat here and to share. And with all the disclaimers that we can put out there, Miss Faith and I are on the same team of building generational wealth for our families and helping people grow with IULs and living benefits and all that. But I'm going to let her tell her story by starting out to tell us, how did she get here? How did she move from where she came from to here?
Yeah. You put me in a fix. Thank you, Lyna. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to tell everybody that you are an asset to my team. You are an asset to my team. You are gold. You're gold. And everybody who has met you can testify you're gold to work with. I'm sure in the field that you worked before and working with my team, you are the best. You are the best.
Well, thank you. Make my head bigger than it is. But let's hear about Miss Faith.
I know. Let's hear about me. Yeah. What is it about faith? Faith. I can tell you about myself until tomorrow. But first, I want to start by saying I'm very humbled to be here. And thank God first before anything else, because I know most of the people are going through so much. But for us who are here, it's just by grace of God. So yes, I do want to first acknowledge God before we start. I also want to thank all the people who are working, the essential workers. I want to appreciate all of them before we start, including you, Lyna. We don't take any doctor, any nurse, any healthcare for granted. So thank you very much for all you're doing, everybody who is essential worker. We appreciate you tonight. After saying that, I will go to the question that you asked to tell about myself. Like you said, I just came to this country over 20 years ago, and wow. I came as a young lady, yes, and coming to catch the American dream, like everybody else. I had worked for about 7 years in Kenya, and when I got here, I got a rude shock because I thought the dream is just gonna be from the airport. Which didn't happen. So when I came to this country, I actually was thinking that I'm gonna come and just start working in the office like I was working briefly, like you said. I had worked with the Teacher Service Commission, and when I got over here, I thought, boom, I'll just come and go to the office and start working. Little did I know you have to go through all the checkpoints, and checkpoint number 1 was Makaratasi. And then checkpoint number 2 is fight with your accent and all those things that we meet the first time we get here. And when I got here, I asked people about the jobs, and I was told you can start either working as a security officer or as to the group home or CNA in the hospital, because that's where you begin when you come. So I was like, oh my God, I've never been a security officer. I used to see them to work, but I never became one, though my husband was in the Air Force, but not me. So anyway, so I started very ambre with working in a group home. And something that I want to say, it wasn't very easy for me to transition from working in an office to come and start working in a group home and becoming a caregiver. I've never cared for anybody before. So it was very humble beginning. And I started to work as a support, what are they called? Counselor, support counselor in a group home. And before that, I'll back you up a little. I actually worked as a security officer. Don't joke with me. At Amberside Financial Center, I did. Not that I'm undermining any of these jobs at all, but I'm just starting where I started from and telling everybody that you can start from somewhere and be somewhere else.
I like that.
And the idea is like you can grow from anywhere. So I did do all those, and my motivation was win in everything that you do. Put God first and win in everything that you do.
Like that.
And I want to tell everybody today that everywhere I have worked, and I'll say this with pride because I know most of the people I've worked with have seen me, I have been promoted. Everywhere I've worked, I have been promoted. Reason being, I'm a go-getter. I will do what I'm supposed to do, and I will achieve what I'm supposed to achieve. So yes, I did work as a support counselor, and I worked as the next level as a support leader. I became a group manager. I became assistant director of programs. And yes, I served with the state of New Jersey with the DDD Division for Developmental Disabilities for about 15 years. And while I was still doing that, I was a mother, and being a mother of a child with one of our son has a disability. He has spinal bifida. Patrick, most of you know him, very outgoing young man. And it was very challenging to have children, to have to work, to have to be a mother, to have to be a mother. When you're a mother with a special needs child, you are a mother twice, not only once like any other mother, because you do extra. So it was very challenging for me, but I did all that until some years back, one of our teammates, who is our mentor, Joseph Major, had come to insure clients in the state of New Jersey, where I live. And after talking to me, I was like, how can I do what you're doing? Because I see you're doing it so easily, no pleasure. I mean, and no pressure from anybody. And you look so laid back, and you're just telling me you do whenever you want and at your own time. And how can I do that also, so that I don't have to struggle the way I'm struggling? So to cut the long story short, that is how I got licensed to become an insurance agent.
I like that. So
Yes.
I like you've touched on very many nuggets in your story from just to let people know that I talk about being intentional in our speech, from cultural biases to where we are now. Going back to Miss Faith's story from where she came from, working in an office in Kenya as an officer in the TSC, which is the Teacher Service Commission, and then coming to work in security and a group home. From that culture, you're looking at it as a step down. It's not a step up. And there was always a stigma of like security people are like guards, like watchmen. They're not something that you are proud of. But I want to tell people that even from those humble beginnings, people do make income, people do grow. That is what Miss Faith was saying. And if your work ethic is positive and professional, you can really be promoted and really provide for your family and advance to where you want to go. So what I take away from what you mentioned is that you used it as a stepping stone, going through that culture shock in this country, and then learning to find out, okay, wait a minute, there's got to be more to life, and what can I do with the knowledge that I have? Sure. And so thank you for sharing that. But I want to take you back a little bit. Now you met your mentor who introduced you to the financial business, Mr. Mecha, who we are very grateful for as a team lead, that to invite you to know more about insurance and finance and annuities and retirement and production and all these terms that we use in the insurance business. But it's really to protect families and build generational wealth. In simple terms, for public health, it's to protect families so that in case there's a risk or like a death or something, you're covered, and then also to teach you how you can build and transfer wealth tax-free. That's important. So I want to ask you then, so this lifestyle that you kind of went into from the group home to the finance industry, there's something that I needed you to mention, and we've talked about this, you and I, many times, about your family life, your son. Can you tell us how this finance industry or this new job that you took, how it's awarded you the freedom to be there for your family? And who's this son?
Definitely. That is Patrick, my favorite. I don't tell the others. He actually needed my help in the mornings for the routines before he goes to school. And I had to be at work at the same time. So I used to wake him up earlier than usual so I can get him ready for school. So it was very challenging in the beginning. But when I stumbled in this and I wanted to do this, I also was very scared to leave my job that had my health insurance, to leave my job that has steady income, and start something new that I've never done before.
Right.
So I took the tests for the state to be licensed, and I didn't even say that I had passed or I was ready to work because I was scared. I
right.
Another a month or so before I said, yes, I'm ready to do this. And when I started doing this, I started part-time. That is how I did part-time. I did for about 6 months. And after 6 months, I realized that, 6 months was enough to do and get double the income that I was getting in the job that I was doing. So why am I scared of a good program? Because I was scared of health insurance. I was scared of steady income. I was scared of this. But then I realized this was double income within 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, you know what? My name is Faith. Take a step of faith.
Mm-hmm.
And I went full-time. I went full-time. And when I went full-time, this time I had time to stay with Patrick at home. I had to get him ready, put him in the bus. Even I got to know the bus driver because I didn't know the bus driver because I would leave him for somebody else to put him in the bus so I can go to work. This time I got to be the mommy who makes dinner. This time I got to be the mommy who welcomes when they come home. I got to be the mommy who clean anytime I want to clean my house. Anytime I want to be in school, I'll be present for the meetings. I started going for his activities. And everybody was so happy in the house all of a sudden because mommy was more available and mommy had better income and they were seeing good things and better things. So that's really how I transitioned, and I had more time in my hands to do my own things and time to do the same quality job that I was doing for less hours. So saying this is something that I should be grateful for because this financial industry has given me a story to tell everybody that I'm so grateful that God put me in this so that I can have more time and more income. And I'm more grateful for that.
I love that you say that. And now I'm going to ask you a question because I hear you talk about it, gave you that what Miss Valentine has posted, work-life balance, to be there for your children. But I would say it's actually more than balance because you're available, totally available for your family, but you're also doing what you love to do. And there's also a freedom that comes with not requesting anybody for sick time, not begging for PTO, not asking for permission to be off work, even when your children are sick and you're forced to go there. So there is a beauty that comes with that. And I can attest to that because I can see the beautiful benefits of working for yourself, making a great income. So I want to ask, and Fred, yes, I see you, Fred, you need financial advice. I will call you, Gaki. And then I think I wanted to ask you about the beauty of like coming from a teacher, a trained teacher from back in Kenya, and then you've worked through security and group home. You know, there's a stigma associated with financial life insurance people. Like life insurance professionals are not having such a big, what is it called? A big respect in the community. That's a word to use, a big respect. They don't have a lot of respect. Maybe that's the right term. How did you get over that as a woman going into that?
I will first of all say that I've not had that challenge because I think I'm lucky that way. Before I got into this business, I was involved in a lot of women ministries and a lot of community activities, and a lot of, I'm a social person, actually. I'll say that. And I would say that I mixed with people a lot. Even if I had all these things going on in my life and all these things that I had to do, I still had time to go to church. I had time to go to meetings. I had time to go to community activities. I had time to visit friends. So, and most of the people that I know, actually, I've known them through a platform of something called the Kenya Christian Fellowship, which is all over the US. So I had friends in every state. I had networks in every state. And it was very easy for me when I got into this. And when I started doing this insurance, of course, like you're saying, some people didn't believe. Now they do. Didn't believe. When I started back then, most people didn't believe in life insurance. But now they do. And yes, there's freedom everywhere. I see that, Grace. There's freedom everywhere because everybody feels free when they have life insurance. And in our community, we know we have been raising funds for a very long time. I've been one of the community leaders who has been raising funds to take people back home when they die. We come together, we raise funds. So it's been like a ministry. It's been like preaching to people before I got into the industry. And when I got into the industry, it was very easy for me to tell somebody, hey, instead of us raising funds for a family when they die or when somebody has left children, let us try the life insurance. And it was very easy for me to do that. So I have not had a big challenge. And really, those who know me know that it's kind of a passion for me to do this, to sell life insurance. Actually, my other name is Mama Insurance.
I like that. Yeah, Mama Insurance. So that's beautiful that you say that. And I will crown it by saying that I shared the other day that always build relationships before you need them. And that's what you did, is that you build the trust and the relationships with the people before you needed to let them know about what you were doing. And I think, Miss Valentine, you've mentioned that as well. So going to the next question that I was going to ask you, which is, so these insurance business that you do, or the financial education that you offer people, the protection that you give to families. And before I ask you the details of the living benefits, I'm going to ask you about the income that you help with people like of different sorts. But it's also pandemic proof is what we would like to say. So it doesn't matter if there's a recession, it doesn't matter if there's a coronavirus. That is the beauty of this. Can you let people know a little bit about being an agent, how that helps families and how that is a pandemic proof income?
Fantastic. That's a really great question and a very wide question in the sense that you as an agent, it benefits you because you get financial freedom. Mm-hmm. There's income in, most people just ask me this question when I left my job. I had a couple of people ask me, you left your job to be an assistant director to sell insurance? Are you out of your mind? And I was like, really, I wish, you can't just go blowing your trumpet and telling people, hey, I'm an agent, but I make more than an assistant director. I said, no, you can't blow your own trumpets. Mm-hmm. But yes, agents make good money. And if there's anybody out there who would like to be an agent, we are recruiting. We are always recruiting. You can talk to Lyna, you can talk to myself. If there's anybody who has done the licensing for being an agent or a producer, we are recruiting. And if somebody is making less than 50% where you are, cross to this side because we can start you off at more than 50%. And apart from that, the people that you help is where you get satisfaction from. May it be during this COVID time, may it be this time that it's hard times for everybody. For agents, it's been the same. It's been the same. It's been worse for the people, but it's been more. It's been like a blessing in a disguise for the agents. Yes. Because everybody has realized they need life insurance. People are dying every day. Parents are leaving young children. Children are also dying. In New Jersey, we just lost a young man of 20-something years yesterday. Mm. And it's very unfortunate when you lose a young person like that because most people, young people, don't buy insurance unless their parents insure them because they think they're young, so they don't think that could happen to them.
Which brings me to the next question then. Yes. So most young people, either they are watching some advisors or some platforms that are talking about why they shouldn't buy, or even other people, like even middle-aged people, or even older people talking about, oh, if you watched like someone like Dave Ramsey, he will say the best thing is term. Or if you watch like Susie Oman, oh, why waste money on whole life? Buy term. I want you to, first of all, I want to clarify something for our audience. I'm very clear and very unapologetic when I remind, especially the Black or people of color, immigrants and refugees, that if you're taking advice from Dave Ramsey or people like that, and you don't have an inheritance waiting for you in another state, if you don't have someone leaving a business like a ranch or a business to inherit somewhere, then you're taking the wrong advice. And I always say that be careful who you are being educated from, because it may not cater to your needs. So by having said that, I want Miss Faith to help me break down the differences between term and permanent, because there are differences. And by the way, there are many types of insurance, but we want to just, for this session, we want to talk about term and permanent.
Fantastic. There is insurance for everybody, and not every insurance is for everybody. That's what I always tell my clients.
Yeah.
There is no one size for all. Okay? There's no good insurance and there's no bad insurance.
Yeah.
The good insurance that is insurance that is active when you die. That's all you need to remember. The good insurance is insurance that is in force when you die. That is good insurance. Okay? Yeah. Having said that, I'll go to what Lyna has asked me to say. What is term life and what is permanent? Term is a policy that you buy for a period of time. TERM, term, period of time. Mm-hmm. This is like you're renting a house. When you're renting a house, you have a lease for 2 years, for 3 years. And when you leave, you just say bye-bye, you give the keys to the owner and you leave. You don't take anything. That's exactly how a term life works. It comes in 10 years, 20, and 30. We have 15 too. 10, 15, 20, and 30. And during that period of time, you're telling me that I'm here for 10 years, I'm here for 15 years, 20, 30, I'll be out of here. If you're not out of here, then you don't have insurance at that time. Most people will say responsibilities get less as you grow older. That could be true, but then also when you're left and the children that you had and you're worried about have left, what about you? What happens to you? Mm-hmm. That's when you need insurance more than ever before. But can you afford at that time? No, because the premiums have tripled and your income is less as you get older. Mm-hmm. So term life, is it a bad policy? No. Mm-hmm. It's a good policy if your finances are tight. Mm-hmm. If you are squeezed, or if you're a young person in college, you could take a term life policy, but make sure the agent who is customizing that policy for you mm-hmm. has put a convertible rider in that policy. Mm-hmm. So that now when you start working after school or when you come out of the financial situation that you're in, you could convert that term life policy into a permanent policy. Mm-hmm. Also, when you're buying a term life policy, ask your agent, does that term life policy have living benefits? Mm-hmm. Because some people just buy a term life policy, but they don't remember to ask, what are the benefits?
Right.
A beautiful term life has a critical illness rider, chronic illness rider, and terminal illness rider. That's how a beautiful policy looks like, plus a death benefit rider. Mm-hmm. If it doesn't have that, then you're not being smart, because you should not only worry about dying,
yeah.
worry about what happens if I was sick,
yes.
if I was in an accident and I was in a wheelchair and I can't provide for my family at that period of time that I was covered. Mm-hmm. So that's how the term life works. If you have further questions, you can still call us, me and Rina, after this, so we can do break it down more for you to understand all the details. But if you didn't catch anything, remember, a good term life policy has chronic illness, critical injury, and death protection.
And it's convertible.
And it's convertible to a permanent policy.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And remember to ask if it's convertible. You can have it for a period of time. So that makes it a good policy for you when you have that kind of constraint. Then the permanent policy, I would straight go to the IUL that we do a lot. Me and Lyna sing IUL. Anybody who knows me or Lyna, they know IUL. This is a permanent policy. It's like a hybrid policy. It takes care of three things that every American worries about. What are those three things that every American worry about? If you die too soon, if you get sick, and when you retire. Those are the three things you worry about. Why would you worry when you die too soon? Every parent worry when they die too soon because what happens to their children? The second worry is if you get sick, God forbid, you're diagnosed with a chronic illness, critical illness, critical injury. You didn't die, but now you're sick in the house. Your spouse stays home to take care of you, and you guys have no way of replacing that income. So this IUL takes care of those, takes care of immediate cover of death, terminal illness, no waiting period for that, critical illness, critical injury. The beauty of it has cash accumulation. So you could use that. And I know I don't want to jump to the wealth, generational wealth, but I'm going to say as cash accumulation that helps you to save money on your premiums and on transfer wealth to your children. Also, this IUL has a rider in there called RIBA, that means living benefit rider, which you could convert at age 65 and becomes an annuity. So that makes you feel comfortable that when I retire at 65, I have some kind of a pension to retire to. So that's the beauty of having a permanent policy. And I always advise people, if you can and you have money, go for the IUL. Because what are you doing here? You're saving that money you could have put in a term in premiums, and you're putting it here in the IUL, and now that money eventually becomes your money when you turn 65, versus you paying on the term. But that doesn't make the term look bad because there is no one size for all.
Yes, and I love how you've said that beautifully. So there's a few questions on the group, and we can ask those at the end. So I will say it very easily. So in America, just like any other business, the financial and insurance industry can legally and ethically discriminate against certain things or certain groups. So if you have a pre-existing condition, for example, HIV/AIDS, most insurance policies will not cover you. However, there are plans out there that will cover your needs after we talk and share about that. And by the way, everything that we do, Miss Faith, myself, and other people, is just like in the medical field or healthcare. It's confidential. It's HIPAA, it's confidentiality, so your stuff is not just blasted out there. The other thing that Miss Faith mentioned is that you may not die, because I think most people were raised with the knowledge that life insurance is a death benefit. It's a death payout. You die, your beneficiary or your loved ones benefit. But I think what she was stressing and kind of emphasizing is the fact that there are products out there, like the one you see on the screen, that is a type of permanent life insurance that not only helps you and your loved ones at death, but also you can accumulate savings. So cash accumulation is what she mentioned, and everything else she mentioned with a good term policy. So terminal illness, I see you asking that, Ms. Valentine. So if the doctor says you have 24 months to live, that policy can kick in and give you lump sum of your money, whether you were insured for $250,000, $500,000, or $1 million, you get it. The other thing is chronic illness. So if you're not able to do certain functions of life for a period of time, again, the insurance company, depending on the policy, they will tell you when you're covered. You get a monthly income replacement. And then if you're not able to, if you develop a critical illness, if you go back and Google, actually not even Google, search Miss Faith Maina on Facebook right here, Miss Faith Kubitu Maina. You will see a video that she did a couple years back with one of our clients who had a critical illness. And that's a living testimony of an African Kenyan lady who benefited from the critical benefits of the insurance, living benefits. She had breast cancer and she got a lump sum to take care of her illness and heal. So she didn't have to worry about the money piece, all because Miss Faith had protected her at the time. So you ask which is the best insurance? The one that helps you when you need it. Period. It doesn't matter if it's term, if it's permanent or whatever. So just to go back to the next question, I was just recapping on everything you said that was so beautiful. Is the next question is that Chris Mossetti, we can talk. It depends on your budget. How much can you pay monthly? That's all specific based on your budget and your income and your goal. So we can totally structure that. It can range anywhere from little money to a lot of money. I have clients in the thousands, I have clients in the hundreds, and some in the teens. So it just varies. So I want to say that we want to move on to the next question, Miss Faith. You've done a great job of kind of breaking down term versus permanent. And I like what Miss Faith usually says that she forgot to mention, which is usually term is like renting an apartment. And then permanent insurance is like buying a house. In buying a house, you grow equity, and that house is yours. True. In renting a house, you pay the landlord, and at the end of the lease, you walk away with nothing, but you'll have stayed there. So it's not a bad thing because either way, you had a roof over your head. That is that. So moving on then, Miss Faith, I'm going to ask you to actually elaborate a little bit. And I shared one example of the video that I just told people to look you up with Miss Rose on the critical illness. Can you just give an example of how death, like how insurance caters for death? You can share maybe that young person who died and the critical and all that, and then quickly just cap it up.
Yeah, actually, yes. It's very straightforward that as long as you're truthful during the cover, insurance, I've had cases whereby somebody did not disclose the truth. And people who actually have come out and said, oh, the insurance company did not pay so-and-so. I recently had a lady tell me that, oh, my friend's husband died because he used to drink. They did not pay for his claim. I said, that cannot be true. The fact that you drink does not make the insurance company not pay for a claim that was filed on a car accident. That's not true. Car accident is covered, period. But the problem is, did that person disclose during the cover that they do have DUIs? Did they disclose that they were drinking? And another thing, was that person's policy being paid for? Because this person who has died from drinking, the biggest probability is this person had let the policy lapse. Because if you have a term life policy and you miss a payment, that's it. The policy has lapsed. Versus if you have an IUL policy, the policy has a feature in it that is self-sustaining in such a way that even if you miss payments, that policy stays on. They start withdrawing money from the accumulated cash, and that pays for your premiums. If it's set up well in a nice way, it will be able to sustain itself. For example, Rose, and I'll mention her name because I have permission to mention her name. She had missed her payments for 9 months. 9 months, and our policy was still valid, and our policy was able to pay her. So that means this policy was structured well. This policy was straightforward case. She was sick, and the doctor, what happens exactly is when a patient gets sick, they call either the agent or they call directly to the company, and they say, hey, well, the family member calls and say, hey, my mom, my sister, or so-and-so is sick and they're in hospital. And what the insurance company does, they mail the forms to you. They tell you to take the forms to the doctor so that the doctor can fill the forms stating clearly, what do you have? Do you have chronic illness? Do you have critical illness? Do you have critical injury? The doctor is the one who tells the insurance company what you have. And when they disclose what you have, those forms are sent back again and they are filled, and straightforward case is paid. There's no time the insurance company will not pay. But remember, you cannot cheat insurance companies, because insurance companies investigate what you do. You cannot tell them, I was injured from work, I'm home, I can't do 2 of my ADRs, and they send their investigators and find you on the highway, airy driving, going to do a private case. They will follow you. They will follow you going to school. They will follow you going to ShopRite and carrying bags. And you're the same person who can't do 2 ADRs. Then that case will not pay. And the reason is not that the insurance companies are bad, but you're not being truthful with what you're doing. If you're being truthful, 100% cases will be paid. We've had cases paid. The ones that we have permission, we can mention a few. We've had a case where we insured a young man in Texas, and the next day he had a car crash. He died, unfortunately, but the father was paid in Kenya. We do have a case in Ghana. The person was insured. 2 months down the road, they died. The father was paid in Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
We do have cases. Personally, I don't mention names. I do have a case right now in New Jersey. A lady was diagnosed with colon cancer. She's been paid, but she didn't want to come public, and we respect that.
Mm-hmm.
We do have cases all over. We do have a case that's one of our agents customized a policy for a gentleman in Tanzania. He went back to Tanzania, and he had a big policy of he gets about 2,000 every month sent back to his country. So these cases pay, but if you don't become truthful, and I do have cases that have been denied because the person did not disclose they had a condition when we are covering them. That's why any person who I've insured, I always ask you, are you taking any medications? Have you had a surgery? Do you have pre-existing conditions? If you disclose, for example, let's say you have diabetes and you're taking medications and your A1C is below 7, and you tell me all those things and I put them in the documentation, then after that, you get a stroke. They're not going to investigate the stroke and find diabetes and let it go. They won't let it go if you're disclosed you had diabetes, even if you got a stroke after. But you didn't say you had diabetes, and then you were diagnosed with a stroke 2 months after. They'll say, hey, maybe this is what led to the stroke. And they didn't disclose they were taking any medications. They didn't disclose their A1C was 14.
Yeah.
So it's depends. I've had a case where somebody said, oh, that company, I'm not naming any companies, but it was not our company, it was a different company. But they came to me and said, that company does not pay. But as a smart agent, I know it's not the company that doesn't pay. It's the client did not disclose what they have during the cover. And some clients are scared to disclose what they have, thinking that when you tell the agent the truth, they're not going to cover you. That's not true. Tell the agent what you have. Let them put it down in record so that it's in your file. They covered you knowingly that you had a pre-existing type of a condition. The only 2 things that we don't cover actually is HIV and cancer that is current. But if your cancer you've been out of cancer for about more than 10 years, you're covered. If you have HIV, we still have a cover for you. And actually, yes, most agents, we are fighting to ask our companies why they can't cover HIV, because HIV is not a big deal anymore.
Right.
It's
so thank you. No, thank you. Thank you for sharing that, because I think people need to hear the benefits of the living benefits. And just to touch on the question on the screen plus many more, I think what Miss Valentine, I think you're asking is, number 1, is it portable? Yes. Number 2, you asked if the IUL is got a grace period. So number 1, when you sign up and you're approved through immediately, there is nothing like waiting for a grace period for you to be seen if you're fit. The moment you're approved, you're good. However, what Miss Faith, I think, touched on is the fact that if you have an IUL, which is permanent life insurance, versus term, even though you don't make payments into the IUL for a certain period of time, this is the one that accumulates cash. That cash is going to be covering that period where you're not paying, so it actually sustains your policy, so it does not lapse. That is the beauty of an IUL. Now, there are many types of permanent life insurance. People tell you, oh, there's really nothing like that. No, there is something like that. There's a whole life straight up. There's a whole life that can be an hybrid where you have an accelerating term into it. You decreasing and kind of joining. You have the IUL, which is the index plans that Ms. Faith has done a great job of explaining. But at the end of the day, every company has different benefits that they offer with their product. But I think my job, for those who know me, is to give the immigrants and refugees, especially Black people, the best opportunities there is to try and close these economic gaps. The other thing I would mention is that I am not going to act like we know everything, because I think the beauty of, which is what Mr. Mecha asked, I think earlier there was a question about liquidity of the permanent life insurance. Yes, the IUL does all of that. Yes. So unlike a whole life policy that doesn't have the living benefits, the IUL has the living benefits, the death benefit, plus the liquidity of your money. And for those who ask about maybe a company like I see, there's someone asking about AAA and Geico. Maybe Ms. Faith, you can say the benefits of the IUL that we have versus what these ones have, because they don't have the living benefits.
First of all, I'll say that all the agents, we are not into business of bad mouthing any other company. Yep. That's our motto. We don't do that. And having said that, I will say Geico, AAA, they are great with
their product.
Auto products. Mm-hmm. Say that, with auto products. And we are great with life insurance. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I'll proudly say we are great with life insurance, and they're great companies with auto insurance. That's all I can say.
I like that.
State Farm is great with property insurance.
Yes.
When you need life insurance, come to companies like National Life.
Okay, and I like how you say that. So yes, and the other thing that I wanted you to touch on is the liquidity of the cash. So some companies that have IULs will tell you, like, the benefit that comes besides the living benefits is that you will get like long-term care or like some kind of benefit at the end. What I think Ms. Faith was trying to say about the annuity or the pension or the income rider is the fact that you have this money that gives you the flexibility to retire anywhere. Yes. So you don't have to go to an assisted living or a nursing home. You don't have to stay in the States. You can actually go to another country and enjoy your money. Is that what you were saying?
True. Yes, that's very true. You have liquidity control. You can get your money at any time, and you can use your money at any time. Actually, the IUL was created to compete with stuff like 401k and other things. That's how the IUL came about. And yes, you have control of your money.
And I think you want to respond to that question before I ask you the last question. So it's saying my portability question is in the context, which can you leave the US and go home? And if something happens to you while you're in Kenya, you will still pay?
Certainly, yes. The answer is yes.
And I wanted you to say that.
During the time of insurance, you have to be in the US.
Yes.
The time that you are covered. And you can't travel within 2 weeks after you're covered. But any time after that, you can be anywhere in the world. Anything happens, you will be paid 100%.
And I think most companies, as you know, Ms. Valentine, are learning that we are global citizens. You can't say that everybody lives in the US and they don't leave the US. Some of us have 2 homes, 3 homes. You belong to many countries. So people recognize that. But I think there's always that fine line to make sure, if you're concerned about your policy, by the way, if you guys are concerned about your policies and you would like us to review, you know me, I always offer that free consultation. And I think Ms. Faith is in the same boat. We are willing to look at your policy. Reach out to us. We will definitely look through your policy and let you know what benefits you have, which ones are good, which ones you can add. And again, with our ethical obligation, we cannot pull you out of your company just because of pulling. If it's a good policy, keep it. If it's not giving you everything, we will let you certainly know that you need this and you don't have this and you could use this. Just a recommendation, because I think that's the right thing to do. And then the next question would be for Ms. Faith. So now we are here where we can, for those who need Ms. Faith, her name is Ms. Faith Kubitu Maina on Facebook. And if you want to get a hold of her, we will post her number here at the end of this live. You can inbox her, you can call her. The same thing, those who know me, I have a page, I have a wall, I have a number. We also have a website. You can go to my website, the Bold Impact Group, and click on the calendar link there and book an appointment to speak. We are very ready to help you with insurance needs. But also, more importantly, knowledge is very powerful. I think it's to kind of let you guys know that there are opportunities out there. A lot of rich people do not have a 401k or an IRA. A lot of rich people do not use the benefits of tax-free advantage that come with life insurance. So it's really, it's up to you to leverage the systems and the opportunities out there to be able to grow yourself. Because again, as immigrants or as a Black people, we start a little bit later than most people. And just basically how the system is set up. So, Miss Faith, for the new agents, or even let's just not talk about new. Let's talk about even seasoned agents who are struggling. Let's talk about seasoned agents who are feeling stuck even, or even like you mentioned, those agents who are getting 50% or less. Miss Valentine, if you're wondering what that is, that's a commission rate. So some people get a commission, some people get salary, depending on what you want to play in the insurance industry. If you want to work in the office, you can get a salary. If you want to work for yourself, you can get a commission. But just having said that, Miss Faith, what tips do you have for new agents to help them close this financial gap? And also for the agents who are struggling, to pull them up into your mentorship, because you're a mentor.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic. I would love to bring them on. Anybody who is willing to come on board, I'll take them with my arms open. The easiest thing about agents is actually to just be committed, stay coachable, and be willing to work. And we'll show you how to do it, because it's very straightforward. It's a job that you do freely from your home. It's a job that you don't feel anybody pushing you to do. You don't need to put in hours. You don't need to worry about commute. You don't have to worry about times and situations like we are in. So it's something that you really can do from your home and gives you financial freedom. It feels good. It feels good to wake up and say, tomorrow I'm going to wake up at 10. And tomorrow I'm working for 3 hours only. And that doesn't make you a lazy person, but that makes you a free person to just work with your time. So if there's anybody here in this group, or if you know somebody, a friend that is struggling and is an agent, or someone who doesn't have a job, I don't think there's someone who should stay without a job while there's an opening somewhere. There is an opening. Lyna has an opening. Faith has an opening. We are hiring. If you need a job, call me up. I'll show you. I'll lead you how you can get licensed. Lyna will show you how you can get licensed. And we shall work with you. We shall train you. We'll coach you. And before you know it, you'll have financial freedom.
I like that. And I want to touch on the beauty of this financial industry, which is very diverse and has very many broad opportunities. So, for example, if you want to specialize in term and that's all you want to work with, you can reach a very big population of like the younger people and those who are interested in a tight budget and things like that. If you want to work on whole life, which is a little bit more expensive, you can also do that and deal with that population that is interested in that. If you want to work on IUL, like Miss Faith is talking about, the indexed universal life plans, yes, again, that's another opportunity. And the beauty of these two is, I think there's a question about, Mr. Mecha posts about the key employee. So if you want to focus and make small businesses, I think my last life, I spoke to truck drivers and fitness owners and group home owners and all these people that have their own self-employed businesses or entrepreneurs, and you don't have a succession plan in your business, you need to call us. Because if something was to happen and your business is not able to produce the same income, whether you're making 6 or 7 figures, then you need to have a succession plan in place to help you, whether you're leveraging the benefits of key person employee or even just having that, then you can benefit from the executive bonus at the end of the year. So there's so many opportunities and things to learn. If you're a business owner, reach out. If you're for yourself individual, and for those with young children, Miss Faith, can you conclude by talking about generational wealth for the next 1 minute? For the young children, why it's important to have a baby IUL. That's important.
I will, and I'll touch a little before I talk about kids. I'll talk about the business owners. That's very important point that Mr. Major, you brought about. Business owners is like, you should ask yourself, what happened to my business after me? That's something everybody should ask themselves. Not even after you also, what happens to your business if you are sick? What happens? For example, you have a business, it's doing so well, and now all of a sudden, God forbid, you're in a car accident or you got a stroke and you're the key employee of that business. What happens? How do you substitute for that business? So yes, we can show you ways on how you could sustain your business, even from a hospital bed, even from your home, even from wherever. And if things happen, if the good Lord takes you home, we still can show your children how they could sustain that business. Okay? Or if you are partners, we have cases where people fight as partners when one partner dies. That is a big problem. If you're in business and you have a partner and one person dies, it becomes a family feud. Like, people wants to take over and others want to do this and that. But if you had a policy set up well for business partners, that becomes easy peasy. Then going to the IUL for the kids. When I have the Americans call me, they always call me at 2 weeks when the Social Security card
is available. Yes, yes.
I've had somebody telling me, hey, Miss Faith, come and insure Mr. Smith. The Social Security card is here. So I always ask myself, these people wait for the Social Security card and we are waiting for 50 years, 40 years, 50 years to insure our card. So what happens is that child, as soon as the Social Security comes at 2 weeks, they cover their child. That child is covered for 1 million. At 2 weeks, that child will be paying almost maybe 300 for 1 million or even less. I can't run the numbers over my head, but yes. And they will be paying that for the rest of their life. That child who was covered at 2 weeks, by the time they go to college, their college is paid up. That child who was covered at 2 weeks, by the time they turn 25, they want to buy a home, they have enough money to put down for their home or even pay for their home. By the time that child retires, I skip college loans. They have no college loans. Forget about that. By the time they retire, they're millionaires. And what have they just done? They have now utilized what their parents put for them. And at that point, they can be able to say, I am giving my wealth to my grandchildren and not my children. So this generational wealth has been transferred from a child to a grandchild. And what have they just done? They have broken generational poverty.
Yep.
That's how they do it.
And that's beautiful. I love how you say that. And I've done another illustration for those who watched my previous live. Is if you had so much money invested, for those who have a retirement sitting from another job that they quit, and they have maybe 250,000 sitting in that retirement 401k or 403b, and you put it in into a 401k for 20 years, all you're going to realize is 100,000, if that, considering there's a recession and everything. If you took the same money and put it in an IUL with compound interest, and by the way, for those who may not know, you can download a compound interest calculator on your phone. If you have a smartphone, download a compound interest calculator and see what I'm talking about. That money, after 20 years, from 250,000 becomes 2.1 million. What we are trying to say is what Miss Faith was saying with the baby IUL. If you have a child who is your child right now, a minor, you can invest as little as $50 a month for them, as little as $100 a month, the money that you're putting in the bank, and not only get the savings, but also the death benefit, but also the living benefits. And by the time they're at age where, even if they choose not to go to college, they can use that money to start their business capital, as business capital. They can use that money to buy their first home, People are not smarter than you. It's just that they plan better. So I think the biggest thing is to make sure that your child is not going to lead the life that you're leading. It's very important for you to build that generational wealth, to say, I was given this, I'm here now. How can I make my children's life better than mine? And then you can invest that $50, $100, and make them win. So Miss Faith, I think it's 10 o'clock.
Yeah, but just so before you finish, let me tell them something. You're not going to be able to cover your child if you don't have a policy for yourself. Just so you know, the parent has to be covered before they can cover their children.
I like that. And I think there's someone saying here, Miss Faith, specifically for you, you can address them later. They want to see you catch up about the kids.
Yes.
Valentine, we are left behind, but we can no longer stay behind. We have many opportunities to break that cycle and get ourselves to the next phase. You got your little ones, they'll be fine. Call me. And then I think there's one last question here. Will the cash value affect your child? Yes. Ms. Faith, do you want to address that?
Will the cash value policy affect your child's qualification for financial aid? No. The answer is no.
So that's a good thing, that they can use that money for college, or they can choose not to use it and still qualify for grants and things that are available in the government. I think I touched on most questions. People said, Maureen says, very impressive, good information. Rose Mogira said something here. I think portability we addressed. I'm making sure I don't miss any questions from the crowd. Chris Mossetti, I think I talked to you. You can reach out. How much will you be paying? That depends on your pocket, your needs, and your income. That is all there. So I think I want to thank Miss Faith for coming on the show, Bold Influence. I also want to acknowledge Miss Chantel from Colorado, that we don't inherit privilege. You're right. That's why I was talking about Dave Ramsey as a person of color. But we can create privilege for our children.
Yes.
By changing what's already there and using the means that we have to make a difference. Because if your money, nobody can touch that. You can go and invest, unless you want to walk to the bank and sign up whatever they tell you for $30, because that's probably what they assumed you're worth. But if you reach out and get what's the right thing for you, then you'll be okay. Yes, Miss Valentine, let's do that. Miss Doreen, I see you from Arizona. Thank you for joining us. Miss Faith, I want to thank you. I want to thank God. I am so excited about this. Anything else you want to add before I close?
No, thank you for having me. And if there's anybody who has questions, they'll reach out to me and you, and we'll help them.
And I want to add Miss Rose here. She's part of our team as well. Thank you for watching, for stopping by. And all of you, all 40 of you that took time to share your evening with us. We don't take that lightly. We know that your time is truly a gift to us. So go out there, and it's not knowledge that is powerful. It's actually applied knowledge. Go make action, go take action, go apply it, and make a difference. We are the only ones who can change our lives. Nobody's going to come change it for you. So thank you, Ms. Faith. We'll chat soon, and have a wonderful night. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody else, for watching.
Thank you.
Yes.